Joining me now, though, is Christie New Craig. Christie is the former chairman of the Chesapeake School Board, still serves on the Chesapeake School Board, and Robert Ike City Council member of Chesapeake. You know, it's interesting. Both Christie and Robert were two of the first, I think, the two first elected officials in Virginia. Maybe anywhere, but certainly in Virginia, because I ran the state, so I know what was going on. First two elected officials in Virginia to back and endorse Donald Trump for president. Sitting with me right now, Christie New Craig and Councilman Robert Ike. And Ike did it while he was in a re-election campaign. He just threw caution to the wind, although his wife was like, what? But, he does what he has to do because he's an ex-cop. And so, you know how ex-police officers are. They just do whatever they want. They throw caution to the wind. Anyway, Robert Ike, good to have you back.
Good to see you this morning, John.
And when Robert gets mad, he does that thing. What do you call that when your shoulders and arms go out? The cop thing? Because you got all that stuff on the side of you. What is that?
You have to walk with your hands out because of the guns.
Yeah, you walk with your hands out when you get mad. Reeves does the same thing. You can always tell an ex-cop because when they get mad, their arms go when they walk. So it's kind of funny. And Christie, good to have you with us.
Thank you.
Christie, I tell you why I'm spending time on this race. Full disclosure, I'm Christie New Craig's campaign chairman, so I'm not shy about this. So full disclosure for her race for the Republican nomination for Commissioner of Revenue in Chesapeake. Now, why does this matter? You're probably sitting there saying, look, why aren't you talking about the travel ban and Trump and all this thing? I'm just going to spend a couple of minutes on this, but I got to just tell you this. I am sick and tired of politicians telling me what to do, who to vote for, who they're backing, controlling the party with the attitude of keep it small and control it all. And that's exactly what you've got right now in the Chesapeake Republican Party. You have a handful of elites that have been there forever that want to dictate all the nominees and everything that goes on. And I don't know about you, but if you live in Chesapeake, I'm sick and tired of the whole thing. And basically, this race is a referendum on the old guard led by Shirley Forbes, who has spent all this time basically telling everybody what to do. They got beat. They're out. They lost. Why is Shirley Forbes still dictating who our candidates are? Now, that's my beef with the whole thing. Christie New Craig, on the other hand, she does what she has to do, and she's not beholden to anybody, no establishment people or anything else. That's why this is such a critical election in Chesapeake, and her opponent, get this, so she's running for Commissioner of Revenue. This will be decided in the June 13th primary. Her opponent, hashtag fake Republican Frank King. This is the deputy of the Commissioner of Revenue, Ray Connor, who's been there for 35 years. That's 3.5 decades. You think they're going to bring any change? Basically, Ray Connor, who's retiring, good for him, served 4 decades. We paid him well. When you want to send me the thank you card, Ray, in the mail for paying your salary, I'd appreciate it. He's retiring. Great job, whatever, right? They want to just put their deputy in place, Frank King. This guy has never shown up in a meeting. I haven't never seen him hand out a flyer, never made a phone call, never been anywhere. And all of a sudden now he's supposed to be the elite anointed one by the Shirley Forbes faction. I'm sick and tired of this stuff. Robert, tell me if I'm wrong.
Ooh, that was a mouthful.
Thank you.
I'm having trouble getting my head wrapped around the fact that this deputy Frank King is being ushered into this by some parts of the Republican Party. I've worked precincts. I've walked neighborhoods. I've done literature drops. I've done all kinds of the dirty work on the ground work with the party. And I'll be honest with you, the first time I met Frank King was at our last GOP meeting, for a monthly GOP meeting. Nice gentleman. I know him personally. Like I said, I've never met him before that. So for him to step up and try and take a Republican nomination for a local elected office, I think it's laughable. I don't know anything about him. But on the other hand, Christie, I know Christie. I've known her for a long time. She is probably the most hardest working in the trenches, Republican, dyed in the wool, 100% person that I think I know. She's probably, if you look at the word Republican in the dictionary, it would have Christie's picture.
Well, she's been there every step of the way, and during the Trump movement, it was very hard, as you know, Robert and Christie, for us to get anybody to come out publicly for our candidate back when he was at 1%, and everybody made fun of the candidacy, and those that backed him, we were subject to mocking, ridicule, and everything else. And so that's why I'm such a fan. But, coupled with that, Christie, you've got the qualifications. You've been in the deputy's office. You're an entrepreneur. You've run a small business. You've worked in Richmond. And you're the chairman of the school board in Chesapeake, which has one of the biggest budgets in the state for a school board anywhere. So I'll tell you the other thing. If you're looking for change, you're not going to get it from somebody that's done the same job for 35 years. You're not getting change. You're going to get the exact same. Everything's going to be the same. I'm looking for change. I'm looking for innovation. I'm looking for something different. Tell us about some of your ideas.
Well, thanks, John. Listen, I am offering the voters a choice for a fresh start, new leadership, visionary leadership. I have about 30 years of public service in the city of Chesapeake and to the state. I am a Republican true, proven and true. I've worked in the trenches, like Robert said, and primary credentials count in this race. This is a Republican primary. I have a diverse background.
A Republican primary.
Republican
for
primary.
A Republican nominee.
Absolutely.
To represent us in the general election for Commissioner of Revenue of Chesapeake.
Absolutely. And I'm
I
the
just wanna
only
make that
candidate that is a true Republican. That in 1998, I joined the party. In 2000, I received the highest award that the Republican City Committee gives to their volunteers, and that's the Grassroots Award. I won that in 2 years. I have worked tirelessly for local, state, and national candidates. I've had multiple leadership positions in the party, local, state, and national. I've been elected twice to the school board. I've been vice chair. I've been chair. Again, we just passed the budget on Monday night, $434 million, give or take. 6,000 employees, 39,000 students, 47 schools. That's huge. I have the experience and the qualifications. And I'm not going to be status quo. I'm going to bring new leadership. I'm going to be a hands-on commissioner. And I think Chesapeake deserves to choose the candidate. And I am going to be the Republican candidate in the Republican primary representing the Republican people.
See, I love what you just said. Chesapeake voters in the Republican primary on June 13th should have the right to choose. They shouldn't have a candidate shoved down their throat that the establishment cabal in Chesapeake that has been deciding on who the nominees are for as long as I've been here, as long as I can remember, who basically people try to get in the party and they threw them out like they did my friend Scott Weldon. I'm still mad about that. So here's what they want to do. Keep it small, control it all, dictate the nominees, dictate the candidates, tell everybody what to do, and everybody should get patted on the head and go home. Right? You go to their meetings, there's 19 people there. I mean, we're in the middle of a political revolution, and I've still got an old guard in Chesapeake, because it happens to be a Republican area, still trying to dictate who the nominees and the candidates should be. The hell with the will of the voters. And I think now it's about getting movement people inside the party that are going to bring change and get something done and open it up.
Absolutely. You know, the commissioner's role is not a back office, behind the scenes finance position. I think I read that somewhere just recently, maybe in the shopper ad. As a proven elected leader, I understand what's necessary to fulfill the requirements of this elected office, and I'm fully qualified to hold this office. And, you know, I have a lot of great supporters that have endorsed my campaign. Like Frank was saying, you know, he was running a campaign, so he couldn't tie down a lot of endorsements. I was in Richmond working for Senator Cosgrove in the 2017 General Assembly session, so I had a late start. But I've got great people like former Governor Bob McDonnell. He trusts me. I worked his campaign in 2009, ran his campaign. Of course, my boss, Senator John Cosgrove. Councilman Robert Ike and his wife Brenda, huge supporters. Senator Bill DeSteth, Majority Leader Senator Tommy Norman. He sent me a text today, checks in the mail. Love to endorse your campaign. Councilperson or council member Susie Kelly, Chairman Jeff Bunn, Harry Murphy, School Board Member Colleen Leary, Lou Tayon, of course, Virginia Trump Chair John Fredericks. I've got a lot of Planning Commission members, Marty Williams, the Chair, Adam Perry, Stevens Johnson, Thomas Turner, who's the Western Tidewater Young
What
Republicans.
about Robert Ike?
I mentioned Robert Ike. He was one of my first, and his
Right.
and his lovely wife, Brenda. She's my best friend. She's awesome. Kevin Amick. And then last night, I just secured the Republican Professional Network of Hampton Roads endorsement. I've been a member of that organization for a very long time, and they are excited to endorse my campaign. About a week ago, I received the Fraternal Order of Police Associate Lodge Number 9 endorsement. I'm a member of the FOP. Remember, I spent 15 years protecting the citizens in Chesapeake as a deputy sheriff and then graduate of the Chesapeake Police Academy. Also, big one, I'm an NRA member. I'm a huge Second Amendment supporter, and that will never I will never waver on that.
Well, look, I think Republican and conservative credentials matter, and I think the fact that every time that I asked you when I was with the Trump campaign for anything, you were right there, whether it was make phone calls, knock on doors, anything else. I never heard of Frank King. I never heard of the guy. I mean, never saw him in a meeting, never saw him at a phone bank. I never saw him do anything. I mean, Robert, you've run now 3 times. Has he ever handed anything out? Has he ever been in a meeting? Has he ever done anything?
Well, as I said a few minutes ago, first time I met him was at the last GOP meeting or the city committee meeting. I don't know anything about him. I've never seen him out anywhere other than the first time I met him.
It's a fake Republican, Frank King, that the establishment, the cabal in Chesapeake is trying to basically put in as the candidate. And if they could slip him in there in some other possible way, they would. Christie, though, upset their whole apple cart because you came up with the signatures, and now you're challenging the entire establishment elite in a primary. This primary in Chesapeake on June 13th, ladies and gentlemen, if you're in Chesapeake and you're going to vote in the Republican primary, this is way beyond the Commissioner of Revenue's race. This is a referendum on whether or not you want political elites in Chesapeake who for years have controlled all the candidates, told everybody what to do, kept it small. If you want them dictating who your candidates are and who your nominees are, or if you want to open the process up and open it up to the people and let the people decide. That's why this election is so critical to Republicans in Chesapeake, one way or the other. Look, Frank King's been there as deputy for 3.5 decades. He isn't going to do anything different. He's going to do the exact same thing they've been doing since 1958. What are some of your ideas that are going to be out of the box different?
Thanks for asking that, John. Listen, I've been walking neighborhoods. I've been talking to people, citizens, business people, and they appreciate Mr. Connor's 34 years. But they also want new leadership, change. And so there's a couple things that we've been discussing, a lot of things, streamlining some services, maybe making things more accessible to the citizens. They have a DMV Select there. That's not a core service of the Commissioner of Revenue, but it's certainly a very loved service to the citizens. And there's a couple different things that the office is not offering. I've been working with the DMV Commissioner, and I want to offer some solutions and some services that are not being offered right now. One of them, very important to me, is the DMV Connect. What that is, in the DMV Select, you can do everything but a license. In the Connect, they go around the city and will set up a table and offer every service available, just like if you went into the DMV in Greenbrier. That hasn't been utilized in Chesapeake since February of 2014. I want to put DMV Connect in areas of our city that maybe can't get to Great Bridge or Greenbrier, like South Norfolk, the Indian River section, Georgetown, the Deep Creek section, and the Western Branch section. So every month, I'm going to try to schedule one of those. The City of Portsmouth does it every other month. Other Commissioner of Revenues do, provide that service. I've talked to about 6 or 7 Commissioner of Revenues across the state. I have a couple endorsements, and I'm going to be bringing out later on that some commissioners have endorsed my candidacy because I've worked with them in Richmond for the last 16 years in the Constitutional Office, the association. So they know my work ethic. They know that I have the knowledge and the experience to be the best commissioner that Chesapeake will have.
Plus, you put it on the line when you were with us and endorsed candidate Donald Trump all the way back in July of 2015. You were one of the first person to do that. And look, I have a long memory. And for those people like yourself and Robert Ike that came to us early and said, look, we're going to back your candidate. We know it's going to be a risk, but our country is circling the drain. And what happens to the United States is a lot bigger than my job in Chesapeake as a city councilman or a school board member or something else. So I'm going to stick by the people that stuck by me in a time of uncertainty, to say the least, because we were all open to ridicule, mocking, and everything else, as I said earlier. So look, if you're in Chesapeake and you're participating, you're voting in the June 13th Republican primary like me, this is an opportunity to blow up the whole cabal there, who has been basically telling you what to do forever. They don't put it in, it's not in writing, you can't find it, but try to go to one of their meetings, try to be, look, we just had a meeting in October and somebody, a young person tried to join the party, they kicked him out. I'm done with this whole thing. I'm done with that. I need people to get involved, not be kicked out because they're not on some side. This is ridiculous. You've got an opportunity on June 13th to blow up this entire cabal and to get Chesapeake open for anybody that would like to come in and join the party and join that movement. And you can do that by voting for Christie New Craig on June 13th as the Republican nominee for Commissioner of the Revenue. And let's get a brand new, fresh, exciting, and open Republican Party of Chesapeake. Because if Frank King wins, Shirley Forbes wins. It's as simple as that. I'm just going to give it to you straight out. Right? This is a referendum on the old guard who has controlled Chesapeake for years. They want to tell you what to do. I'm done with these people telling me what to do. I hope you are also. Christie, I'm going to give you the final word.
Well, thanks, John, for having me, and thank you for believing in me and supporting me. My candidacy for Commissioner of Revenue is going to give the voters a real choice for a fresh start for the office. Public service dating back to 1987 with the Chesapeake Sheriff's Office required me to develop and apply a diverse set of skills in serving our community at the local, state levels. I have extensive budget planning and management, personnel management, volunteer management for charitable as well as political causes. Thorough knowledge and application of Virginia Code. I have a strong public speaking, collaborative interaction, problem-solving skills. They've prepared me for this role. And as a proven, and this is very important, a proven elected leader in Chesapeake, my experience will enhance the office. Again, Republican credentials matter in this Republican primary. And I'm asking the voters to come out on June 13th and vote and cast their vote for Christie New Craig for Chesapeake Commissioner of the Revenue. Please like my page on Facebook, Christie New Craig for Chesapeake Commissioner of Revenue. I'll have my website up and running in about a week, and I look forward to talking with the voters. I'm a very hands-on person, and I love to listen. I'm a good listener, and I'm going to win this on June 13th.
If you back Donald Trump, I need you to get out on June 13th in Chesapeake and vote for Christie New Craig for Republican nominee for Commissioner of Revenue, so we can find a new way and continue this movement and take the party back from the establishment cabal. We're out of time for this segment. I want to thank Christie New Craig for being with us. Robert Ike, I want to thank him also. Robert was there also with us and went to Cleveland with us. He was elected on my slate as a national delegate, and you came and voted for him, and we appreciate that. And I got to tell you, it's easy now. Trump is president, but you go back to the spring of 2015 and the handful of people that we had backing our candidate and what we were up against and the people that made fun of us and the social media and everything else. And I've got two people with me that stood with us the entire way and were a part in changing the direction of our country. I want to thank you guys for that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
June 13th, I'm voting for Christie New Craig for Republican nominee for Commissioner of Revenue. I'll be right back.